The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's Brian Caprice from Keep Trading Simple, and welcome to today's market update, looking at current market analysis and identifying potential opportunities. Um, it's fall. I don't know. I'm super excited about it. I don't know how everybody else feels. Going outside, having it be a little bit brisk, I think is awesome. So hopefully everybody is enjoying this fall weather. I feel like we took a gradual kind of summer to fall. The leaves are probably going to start changing soon, but again, it's Tuesday. We're back. Many of you attended, I know, last week. You were part of the special 3-day event, and I thank you guys for coming out there. It was a blast. As I said, if you guys were unable to watch it or didn't get a chance to register for it, I know that they're trying to get all the videos kind of edited basically and approved, and they will all be on YouTube pretty soon. So you guys will be able to catch those. But definitely hugely successful event. They're looking for doing some more in the future. We've gotten some great feedback. So again, if you guys did miss it, make sure you check out Nadex's YouTube channel. There's a lot of cool videos over there. Check it out. So let's just jump in. This week is a very interesting week here. Before I dive into anything, let me say this is one of those weeks that when I do my kind of weekend kind of newsletter, I put my analysis together and kind of what I'm looking for. It's one of those weeks that it's not my favorite style. And what I mean by that is I love news, but I don't like the type of news that we have this week. And I'll explain that in one sec. Okay. So before we go anywhere, let me go through kind of who I am for some of you that are new into the channel. Some of you may have joined last week and wanted to know when we kind of really got to break down and do analysis. If you're here, welcome. So for those of you that don't know me and the ones that do, again, bear with me for about 30 seconds here. I'm the president and CEO of Keep Trading Simple, and my job is to kind of really take trading back and make it something that everybody can understand, okay? There's so many distractions in trading, so many traps, and retail traders fall for those things all the time. I started trading back in the tech bubble, so I've been through some ups, I've been through some downs. I learned with traditional options and stocks, found currencies, learned to trade futures, found Nadex. I was a financial advisor for one of the big 3 banks. Understood that those guys didn't really know as much about trading as you would think they would, right? Yeah, surprise. I know I was anyway. So as over the years, what I realized very fast was that my true passion was in helping people learn how to trade the markets themselves. You will always be more invested and concerned with the outcome than anybody else will. What I try to do by doing these sessions is I try to give you guys a golden nugget or some type of opportunity that you guys can find, or basically taking a step forward. I'm one of those believers. If you can get 1% better every day, your life will be pretty well, pretty good, right? So that's what I attempt to do. Again, take notes during these presentations if you're new. Again, if you have any questions, you guys are more than welcome to email me. I'll put that email up at the end of the presentation. So before I dive into the chart, there's one last thing I have to do is I have to go through the Nadex risk disclaimer. So trading on Nadex involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors. Trading can be volatile and investors risk losing the cost to enter the transaction, including fees. The information presented within this presentation is for informational and education purposes only and should not be considered an offer or solicitation to buy or sell any financial instrument on Nadex or elsewhere. Now, any trading decisions that you make are solely your responsibility and at your own risk. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Nadex contracts are based on underlying asset classes, including Forex, stock index futures, and commodity futures, which we'll talk about all 3. And Nadex is a registered trademark of the IG Group. Now, here's the agenda for today. We're going to cover the upcoming new events, and I will explain to you guys why this is kind of my least favorite kind of news week. Then we'll go through indices. Forex, I have a big update for you, something that we've been asking about for a long time. And I want to thank all of you out there that has helped me in my mission to get what we got this week. Like I said, it's been something that I keep telling you guys to drop it in the comments. And the people at Nadex listened and they gave us what we wanted. And it's been an awesome week so far with them. And then again, we're going to cover commodities as well. All right. So let's go into news. Let me drag my news chart across so you guys can see it. Come all the way. All right, there we go. All right, so you guys know this is one of the websites I use. I use Forex Factory and Daily FX are the 2 that I probably use the most. I like this one because it has the scanner up top. And again, most of my charts are set to currencies at this point. There's just so many opportunities right now. It's just such a great place to be in. But in the last 24 hours, you can see right now, not too much moving, right? Kind of been whipsaw back and forth. And the reason why, and again, goes back to kind of why it's one of my least favorite weeks. Let me click this over. Let me turn none, and let me go right to speeches. As you can see, on Tuesday, on Wednesday, as of yesterday as well, and Thursday, there's speeches every single day. You guys know this guy. You've heard his name a few times, right? The Fed Chair Powell. This guy, and a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, I said, watch out. This guy can move the market, and it went crazy that day. Well, he's speaking every day this week. You never know which day is going to be the bombshell. He's testifying in front of Senate on Thursday, and there are always some difficult questions that comes in. He's due to testify on the CARES Act before the Senate Banking Committee. You think they have any political motivations? Yeah, just a little bit, right? So, you get kind of some questions that he may not know, or some different answers, and there's some hidden gems in there. So, but what makes it difficult to trade is that at any moment something could be released. Like you see 16 minutes ago, we've relaxed a number of banking regulations temporarily. Well, typically deregulating the banks tends to be good for the economy, helps them grow, things like that. When you put all those banking regulations back on, it tends to be considered not as pro-business, right? Because again, lending is harder and you need more, there's more things. So, again, it's quotes like this that will send the market kind of pushing higher or lower. Those are not things that we can predict. We don't know. It's not like he's going to make a comment at 10:37 sharp. Be ready. It's not like one of those type of things. At any moment, he could make a comment or say a statement that sends the market kind of flying in a direction. So that's why it makes it a little bit more difficult this week to be able to trade these. Now, if we look at everything, right, I'll put it all back on again. Now, you guys can see for the week, it's a decent week. Besides that, Wednesday and Thursday, it's packed of news, and most of it is the European and pound data, but it's all this, the flash services, flash manufacturing, PMI, right? Purchasing Managers Index, right? You guys see this right here? Okay. What does this do? It talks about economic expansion or contraction. Okay. So those are always important. All right. Seeing if, the manufacturers and the services groups are getting bigger or smaller, it is kind of a telltale sign of what's happening. Are we putting into a better environment or a worse one? When you see things like this that are approaching here, and you see, oh, this was at 49 before, and this is at 50. 50 is the magic number. Okay. You start getting some surprises here. You get some crazy movement, and then again, the BD takes over. So, today, not much. Again, New Zealand has some stuff going on tonight. Not expected to get changed. There may be something in the rate statement. We'll see. Tomorrow morning early, though. Again, early. European Open. There's going to be all kinds of news tomorrow morning between France and Germany, and then overall European numbers. And then at 4:30, we have the pound UK numbers coming in. That should be pretty interesting as well. And then we step into U.S. data at 9:45 right after the Open. So tomorrow morning is like a ping pong event, right? We have the Open, and then we have 9:45, 15 minutes later, we have all the news data come in. And then 15 minutes after that, Powell starts talking, and God knows when that's going to start bouncing around. And then 30 minutes after that, we have crude oil inventories kicking in. So tomorrow morning is like a ping pong of events, right? It's like a beehive of news. It can be a little bit more challenging for some traders. And again, that's why I'm kind of excited, because a lot of this is also things that will move the currency market. And now that we have some new things in the currency market, I'll show you in a sec, those will be pretty nice. Going to Thursday, Swiss news, which again, we don't really get that much Swiss news. It's not very common. And again, the interest rate is not really, the policy rate is not really going to change. They don't see anything being different there. But again, we do have some things in the Swiss that aren't bad, right? We have some knockouts over there. We have some 5-minute binaries on that one. We have the regular binaries. We have some of the new stuff over there as well. I don't know if you guys know that there are now weekly Swiss spreads. So we do have some new abilities here to be able to trade the Swiss, which is very rare. And again, if you're not a currencies trader, no big deal. This is European Open setting, gives you a great opportunity to make some trades. Then we click into that unemployment claim. If you guys remember, and again, I didn't do analysis for you guys last week because we had the other session. I was actually calling that this was going to be higher last week than expected. Why? People were going back to school, right? I know my kids the week before that went back to school. I know 3 mothers on just my son's lacrosse team, right? I'm the coach. I know 3 mothers that are now considered unemployed because they have 2 kids that are home doing virtual schooling, that they can't just leave home all day by themselves. So they've been forced. And again, they're, because of it is a COVID-related thing that the kids are home, they are now on unemployment. So kind of hard to predict who was going to have to suddenly stay home and who wasn't going to have to stay home that was able to work over the summer, right? So this week as well, I feel like they'll probably get a better grasp on it this week. but there's still the chance that this number is a little bit low. Now, they did raise it a little bit, and really what happened in the second week of September? Nothing. Pretty much the people that weren't going to work in the first week are probably not working in the second. There's probably a couple more people, right, that realize very fast that maybe I can't do this working thing with my kids home. It's just not going to work. It's just too difficult, right? Um, but again, remember, this unemployment claims is for the first time, right? Not necessarily people that own those continuing. That's a continuous claims number. So a little bit different there, right? And then at 10 a.m., everything gets nuts. We have Bailey speaking with the UK. So the pound may move all over the place, right? We have Powell testifying. Again, is there any crazy questions that they're going to ask him first thing in the morning to set the day up? Absolutely. And then who else do we have talking? Treasury Secretary Mnuchin, all at the same exact time. So 10 o'clock is one of those, it's like an Acme thing of dynamite, the Roadrunners, where they're running past, and Coyote's trying to kind of time this one. So be very cautious at 10 a.m. on Thursday. Kind of one of those times where you got to love Nadex because, again, having that limited risk going in, right? You can only lose whatever it costs you to get in, including your fees. That's kind of a nice thing to have at 10 o'clock in the morning. Again, it's my favorite time in the morning to trade, but all kinds of stuff all at the same time. And then going to Friday, again, we have our public sector net borrowing, which is not really that big of a deal, but we have at 8:30 the core durable goods. Basically, what are people buying? And you can see they're expected to be below what they were before. And this is always an interesting situation too, right? So last time, for an example, durable good orders month over month, and again, that's a very important one with COVID, right? Coming in at 11.4, right? Coming in at 11.4. Well, the forecast is 1.1, right? So if it comes in at a 2.1, is that a great number? Yeah, it beat the forecast. It was better than expected. But can the media spin that and say, oh my God, core durable goods was down 8% or 9% from where it was before? It was 11.4. It's only 2%. They could. So you see how it could be kind of spun in kind of a weird kind of way, right? But we got to see how that's going to react on Monday morning, or I'm sorry, on Friday morning. All right. So a lot of kind of cool stuff in there. And again, over the weekend, we're pretty safe. Nothing here. Monday, again, nothing going on Monday as well. I know my kids are home on Monday. So yeah, it's just one of those things. Again, we'll jump back in on Tuesday morning. And really, there's not a whole lot on Tuesday we got to worry about either. Just the consumer's confidence. And again, we'll meet at 12, but this consumer confidence number next Tuesday, also important because, again, when we have a confident consumer, they tend to spend more money, which drives retail sales, which drives earnings, which is all good across the board. Okay. So again, next week, do watch that one, and that's a little bit farther out there. All right. So that's what we got going on the news front. So hopefully you guys understand that there are many landmines, for lack of a better word, this week that could be happening. And, literally every day, I'm spending so much time looking down here. I mean, you see, this guy, he's the Treasury Secretary, but he's yellow. He's continuing to work with Congress towards a phase 4 relief package. So we're talking about relief, right? Over here, we talk about Powell having, relaxing things. Bailey's talking hard. Evans is surprised that the U.S. been able to, maintain this. Again, very important news. Very important news. Has profound. Yeah, we got this one. I mean, pretty much. Does everybody understand that the coronavirus right here, right? Does everybody understand that it has a profound health, economic, and financial impact globally? I'm pretty sure at this point that this is not news, right? But this is the oversight of the Treasury Department and Federal Reserve's pandemic response team. So they are coming up publicly saying something that we have all known for 6-8 months, right? Good thing we're all on the same page, right? So that's what we're looking for the week. So let's go over and pull some of the charts. So we always start with the indices on Tuesday. So here's what we got going on. Right now, and again, I'll pull this back a little bit more so we can kind of get an idea and kind of get a bird's eye view here. All right. So we've seen this really, really, really pull back from really the beginning of September all the way to where we are now, right? Again, you guys have heard me use the terminology being high on the curve, and then we've just taken such a drop to the downside. And again, starting to get more bullish down here, right? We've seen buyers step in here. They punched it back up on the 4-hour. Right around this 10-726, and we saw that kind of the same bounce yesterday as well, and we're kind of holding firm now. So looking at here, we're kind of getting a more of a picture of where are we at? Where could potentially be trading opportunities. All right. One thing, and again, Powell can mess up a lot of the stuff. Hopefully, most of his stuff is his I don't know, his quotes are done for the day. But you can see we've been really chopping back and forth. So there's one area right here. I'm going to move this out of the way so we can kind of drag it across. This area in here is, this piece right here where the red is. This is an area where we've seen sellers step in, and it had a pretty explosive move to the downside on an hourly basis. This dotted line that's right below it, I don't know if you guys can see this or not, approximately right here, right around 11.3. That is a 4-hour level. And again, the same type of explosive push off of it. The only thing that moves the market this much is a lot of selling pressure, a lot of orders. And when I say a lot of orders, what I mean is basically big money, right? You and I, if we decide, hey, listen, I'm going to sell the NQ right now, I'm going to take some profit, right? Are they saying, hey, Joe the plumber right now, he just sold, so bam, the market drops? No. This is big money that moves the market. So what we're doing is if price can get back up to this, 111.13 in this range, for me personally, and again, this is not a trade recommendation, but I would be looking for some type of a confirmation of a rollover and a pushback to the downside. Now, I do think that, and again, I could use it, I could put something in there along these lines, right? That would be off a 4-hour, but I think using it just a little bit higher. Again, this level will come in at approximately 111.39-ish, right? I think that's a pretty good kind of takeoff point, right? And the 1 to 3 risk to reward ratio, and again, I'm very big into these, is in a great place. And even the 1 to 5 is a good place because it's, it's in front of the other opposing demand zone. So I'm liking this one as far as a short. Ways that this one happened, again, we could rally up, and again, end of day, 2 o'clock, maybe 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we could see some type of a rollover. Even another scenario is we could potentially just see this be green for the rest of the afternoon, have the market close, and then when the market reopens, right, after futures and everything reset in the overnight, we could kind of push back down again with news that is not so great for the U.S., right? So maybe we rally the rest of the day and then turn. But again, 111.39 is a level that I'm looking at. Over in the S&P realm, so this is something I've been talking with my students. I was looking for a bounce off this bottom level. This level is sitting down here at approximately 32.15. Unfortunately, it got front run. I know we went over what front running was the other day. We had mentioned that, again, basically when you have an area where you're willing to buy and the price gets really, really close and then it gets really, really close and then goes in exactly the direction you thought it was going to go in, that means that your analysis was correct. Unfortunately, many other people also figured out that that was the correct analysis. And unfortunately, they put their orders in front of yours and we didn't get filled. So, was it a good setup? Yep. Did we get into it? Nope, we missed it and ended up pushing higher from this 32.15 level. Okay. So I'm going to delete the risk to reward ratio at this point so we can kind of get a better view of where we're at. Now, this was an old level we were talking about. This was a good old Harry Potter trade to the downside, and it was set up late last week. I left it on. I don't really need it to be here anymore, so we can delete those off. And this was a level here. I'll remove that. So right now, it's kind of the same thing that the NQ looked like. Right now, where we are on an hourly, I don't really love too much in there. On the 30-minute, you can see there's a lot of basing, right? Going sideways. I mean, we're literally just going top, bottom, top, almost bottom, top, bottom. It's just basically sideways. I wouldn't say that it's strong either way, right? Now, there is a small level sitting above right here. And again, I'll turn this yellow as kind of an area where, it's a possible bounce level, right? On the 30-minute. If I do go back up to the hourly, you can see kind of where those two levels exist, okay? So again, we'll kind of shorten it into that level right there. Let's give you some numbers so you're able to see it. It's approximately 30.07. And then kind of the same thing. This other level is coming in up here about 30.23. Either of those levels I think I'm okay with. Again, I love the movement off of this. It was basically 2 hours of straight down. A lot of momentum, a lot of power to the downside. So I think that that's a great level. But a lot of times when we have two levels like this, and there's one kind of sitting right here, any of these levels could be good. And again, if you wanted to use a confirmation entry, if you wanted to, make sure that, and I guess make sure is the wrong word, but if you wanted a little bit more confirmation, right, that there are some sellers in here, the surefire way to do it is to use the same pattern here, the same Harry Potter lightning bolt, wait for it to kind of hit, pull back, and then use that as the same thing, right? A touch of the level, a pullback, and then kind of a failure to go any higher through that level, and then catch it back to the downside. You may be able to take either one of those two, and again, timing, I think,
Hey,
for this one
Brian,
is also kind of important.
sorry, it's
Yep.
Todd. Every once in a while, you're cutting out. So,
Am I?
I
Maybe the
don't know.
microphone.
If you can stay closer to the mic.
Yeah, it's there. It's a headset, so I'm not going anywhere.
All right, cool. Thanks.
All right. Yep. And if I was doing that, guys, go ahead and type it in the chat. Let me know. Make sure. I don't have the chat window up right now, or questions. But Todd was having some problems with sound, so I can't entirely trust Todd today. But if I was, I apologize, guys. But anyway, again, that's where we're looking for this thing to kind of roll over. I think it's set up very similar to the NQ, and I think it's not a bad location. Dow, kind of the same thing. So the Dow was in an area here. I had marked it off looking for some type of a short. Kind of the same thing, right? It was a Harry Potter going through. We had some basing. It punched back up, and it based in that level. And again, this was on a larger scale. Kind of the same idea. And again, I mentioned this late last week for my students. I was looking at this as a minor shorting area and then a bigger one up here at 28,207. It's really just chop back and forth. And, I'll remove this one pink real quick, right? You can see that it did form a lower level here on the 30 minutes, right? It did form this level here. So again, you could have used this on a smaller kind of, a smaller kind of period here like this. And you can see that you've already been punched through down to your profit level. So kind of the same thinking. I probably wouldn't use this for a sell again. The only thing that would, I would say that coincides would be, again, on an hourly basis for use in the same level up here. This was a pretty decent response out of it, right? So I can take a kind of a newly refined kind of risk level, put it up here. And again, there's a couple ways you can play this one. Obviously, it being, 12:30 in the afternoon on the East Coast, some of your binaries may not work as well because, again, we're going to start moving slow. I would kind of like for it to be there. If we could get it to rally just a little bit, if all three of the indices that we've covered could rally up to that level and be in that same kind of area where sellers have stepped in, again, depending on the time, I think there may be setups in all three of them. Maybe, it's really going to be based off what time we end up hitting that level, okay? Now, one additional thing I do want to point out, and again, there's really, because of the movement that kind of enabled this level of basing, I do want you guys to be thinking about this, right? Again, having that Harry Potter to the top side, okay? As they say, levels are meant to be broken. Well, there's a level sitting right in there as well, okay? Again, there's a level of basing here, so you'd want to make sure that you are out just a little bit before that level in that range. So again, this level has been hit. I think if it coincides with a rollover in the S&P and the NQ, I think there is potential for this to kind of flip. But if it comes up here and it bases right before, or it comes up into the level and starts to base sideways, I'm not thinking short anymore. I'm thinking, hey, break this level, then pull back to the same level and take off, and I'm on board, right? Give me that springboard, right? Think of it as a diving board. Ready? You jump once, you hit it again, and then boom, it goes, right? Like a little diving board trade. So that's what we have for the indices. Okay, a couple different opportunities. Now let's go over to the currency realm. So here was a trade from actually this morning. I had it the other way. This was set up from this weekend. This was the morning play in the Aussie right here. Now I said I got some new things for you. So let me pull this off. I thought I had adjusted this, but I guess I didn't. But there was a trade from this morning right here. I don't know if you guys can see it or not. I'll explain what it was in a sec. Right here, right there. Whoops. Right there. All right, and basically what this was is a wick over wick. It tagged it and then again launched it off. So we were looking for the entry here. All right. Don't know if you guys saw, right? And again, this is why I thanked you guys in the very, very beginning. Nadex has added some new fun tools, right? We've been talking about the knockout brackets. I know you guys before remember the original name of the touch brackets, and now they are knockouts, right? Well, we used to have 4 of them. Well, if you guys haven't looked there now, we have more, right? We have the Aussie Yen, the Aussie dollar, the Euro pound, the Euro yen, the Euro dollar, pound yen, pound dollar, dollar CAD, dollar Swiss, and dollar yen. So we have this as a knockout bracket, right? Okay. This is exactly what these are for. As price is moving, again, this would have actually triggered this morning right around, what was it, 7 o'clock? Yeah, about 6:30 in this morning, 6:30, 7 o'clock. Yeah, right there, right at the 7 o'clock is when I caught it. Obviously, when a lot of the call spreads and binaries and things like that they printed from yesterday, not from this morning, right? Well, because there's movement moving up and movement coming to the downside, this is where those knockouts are nice. And this is why I've been asking for them for a while. Like, give us more than 4, please. And we have more. Okay, so this is a great opportunity for something like this. Now, you could have also taken this in the 2-hour realm, and the movement on this one was absolutely great, right? This one ended up moving about 20, even though it pulled back a little bit. And again, this is from 7, actually the 7 candles from here, from the entry. You're looking at 9. It's about 20 pips to the downside. Okay, that's perfect for a 2-hour. Okay, once we got over to here, where the 10 o'clock reversal comes in, right? Here's 10 o'clock. The red, actually, it's 9:30. Yeah, here's that 9:30 reversal. Here's that 10 o'clock. Again, pull back in a break. This one candle was also 30 pips. Okay. Again, great strike differentials on those things. This whole move this morning has been about 68 pips. Gotta love those type of things inside of the Aussie. Now, we're going to stop. If you're not in it right now, it's a little bit late. As you can see on an hourly basis, we do have some green right below where we are. Now, why this is important? This is actually coming from a 2-hour level, right? We stabilized. Actually, we pulled it off of here. Stabilized, bounced, hit it again, and that was the launching point for this entire push up. We're starting to get close to that. Okay, so we need to be a bit cautious before we hit that level. As you can see, the price of this one coming over here is coming in. And again, on the hourly level, it's a little bit lower at 71.51. Now, if we look just a little bit higher, you can see that the green dot comes in here at 71.55 or 57. Be cautious of that. If this is going to bounce, that's most likely where we're going to have a bounce and a reversal coming from, right? Now, this morning, and again, on an hourly basis, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours we've been straight down. It tends to want to retrace a bit. All right, tends to want to retrace. And again, that could happen in the afternoon. It could happen later on this evening. But again, sometimes we need to have a little patience, wait for this to be able to come down and tag this one, is what we're looking for. Also, and I say also, just FYI, I'm not going to tell you which one because I know on the new platform they don't have numbers and people don't like that, right? But this level is kicking in here, this 4-hour zone, at 71.57. There happens to be a knockout bracket at 71.45. That's 10 pips below. That's coming in right here. So if this is a level where I have sellers coming in, could we be looking for some type of movement sideways for a limited risk entry? Sure. Now, again, do the analysis yourself, but it's always nice when one of them lines up like that, okay? Now, looking at the Aussie Yen, okay? The Aussie Yen is also in the new knockouts list, which is, I think, also great. And also approaching the level here where we've had, again, we wanted buyers to step in. Now, this one's a little bit more pinched. It only had about 40 pips. Again, still not a horrible position to take. If you guys were looking at this one and looking at binaries on this one, like if I pull the most recent, if I pull the 12 to 2, actually I guess the 12, not the 12 to 2. Let's see, the 11 to 1, right? The 11 to 1. You guys can see that the strike differential on this one is 5 pips, right on the 2-hour. So, I mean, even if you had taken the piece here, right, this morning and rode this one up, you're talking about 35 pips. Even if it at its worst on this pullback, it's about 25. That was 5 strike differential move off that bounce. Vice versa from the top side, had you taken it off this level of basing and punch away that you could have definitely done as well, you're talking about 8 strikes to the downside. So again, this one was really a 2-hour binary play for me, kind of bouncing between these two levels. Similar to the Aussie dollar, I think that this one has turnaround potential back to the top side around approximately 75.16. And again, match the product, match the risk for what you're looking for. But one thing to keep in mind is now that we are in the afternoon, it will probably slow down a little bit. Again, this one has a lot of movement and a lot of chop back and forth, mostly due to, whoops. Uh-oh, did I lose the mouse there? Mostly due to the U.S., the market's opening, okay? So, again, just something to keep on your radar. You know what? Hold on. Let me, I think my the wireless mouse just ran out of power there. So let's see if that brings it back. There we go. My mouse is moving again. That was weird. I thought I had it plugged into an extension, but I guess I did not. So keep an eye on that one. Again, some good opportunities there. Now, Euro Yen's been choppy. Look at this. This has just been chopping back and forth. And, you could say, and this is one of those situations where, again, for those of you that are new into the channel, these levels are just an indicator that I have for my students. This is supply and demand. If you understand how to do it, you don't need the indicator when you understand how to draw it. And again, that's what I teach at my school. But this is one of those situations where, although it did bounce and it makes me look really, really smart, it's not a trade that I would have taken. It's kind of consolidated in. It did form new levels, but I mean, it just went all the way back and forth through this. So this is one of those ones where I wouldn't look at this and say, hey, this one was great. You guys should have taken this one. Look at this. I didn't take this one. I would still show a bit of caution with this. Again, it's more chopping sideways. The way that the candles are formed, it's consolidating. I mean, you could see it here. Like, look, hey, this is pushing in here, and and this is, this is pushing in, here, right here. So I mean, it is kind of, it's in a pattern. I just don't necessarily like it. So for me, I'm really looking for really kind of a break of this level up here, right around this, 23. And again, I know it's not straight, right there. And then same thing for the downside. I'm kind of looking for this to come back down here. So really, until we hit either of these two, 123.75 or 121.94, not as really interested right now, because we're just kind of meandering sideways and we're kind of consolidating in. And the day to play this one will be, what is it, Wednesday? Is it Wednesday? I have it up. Hold on. I drug the wrong thing across. Yeah, Wednesday, right? Tomorrow. All this here is going to be European-based news. From here all the way down, we'll typically till this one, but I mean, really until here, all this from 3:15 tomorrow to 9:45 in the morning, all of that is going to be, potential movers for this currency pair. We get the European data, and then we have the yen coming in right after it. All right. So let me put this up here. This cord is weird. All right. So that's what we have for euro yen. Not as much opportunity. So pound yen. Pound yen's also kind of disappointing. So I didn't cover this as much this morning. Okay. The pound yen has only moved 40 pips in the last 24 hours. Now, the last 2 weeks, this pair has been on absolute fire. Okay. How do I know that? Let's go back here. And if we look at what our daily ATR is, it's 151 pips. Okay. A lot of movement, and it collapsed. It went from higher in the curve all the way to low. Well, when we're sitting here low, we're waiting for kind of things to turn and bounce. And you can see that there are some levels just below where we are. In this case, they're the daily levels are kicking in right here at 132.71. So for me on this one, really more than anything else, I'm looking for areas where I can get long off of it. And on an hourly basis, I don't really have anything clean to 132.26. Nothing's really happened too much here. I mean, there's a little bit of a zone up here, but right now, what I'm kind of doing is I'm kind of holding this kind of top and bottom. This level here, this, kind of looking for, 136.11, and then again, bringing this down to this level here. I think we need to wait. And again, this is not trending, right? There's no point in getting into something that doesn't have a lot of oomph, that's not really moving right now. I mean, this is what we were dealing with before. Look at this. Move, 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 right? I mean, it's like awesome, 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 awesome. And now we had one move this morning, right? That move came in at 3 o'clock this morning for the London Open. It gave us 1 hour of movement, and then we've spent basically, 8 hours in the same exact level. Okay, so again, it's about finding opportunities to move. Worst thing to do is get into a trade and sit there. And again, something with not only Nadex, but all options that you have to watch out for is time decay. Getting into something that just sits here and doesn't really move in a direction that you want it to move in will eat up your time value. And when I first started trading Nadex, that was my biggest, not my biggest gripe, because I mean, again, I knew what time value was, but that was my greatest frustration, was the fact that it always seemed like just as the expiration happened, the movement would occur, and then it would go where I thought it to go to. So again, it's just another feature that you got to kind of play into it. Again, everything has pros and cons, and you just got to add that into kind of the analysis. We were fine. Is there something wrong with your volume? Yeah, Letitia says she's fine. That's weird. I don't know, but if the sound goes out, let me know. All right, so pound dollar. So pound dollar has had a bit more. Now this guy, as you can see, we had a pullback. We wanted the pullback to go a little bit higher. Now I could have drawn it, but I don't like the way those candles form there. Sitting up in this range, I was really looking for a little bit more of a push. Now we could have refined that level down and taken it. You can see there was some drama back and forth this morning. So it's kind of one of those ones that it's been a little bit harder to grab. I mean, obviously there's a zone sitting right here. And again, I didn't take this one. This one triggered, 6 o'clock this morning, 5 o'clock this morning. So I was not at my computer yet this morning for this one. The baby decided to be up till midnight last night, and she was jacked. I don't know if she had like red dye, but the baby would not sleep last night. So I was on baby duty, but I was not awake for that one. So really on this one, it's kind of the same thing. I'm waiting for price to come just a bit lower, and you can see there's a small zone here, a nice pop, but really, I like this bottom zone here. I like this push versus this one here. There's just not a ton of super clean below where price currently is. Okay, so kind of a hard situation. I'm hoping tomorrow that we get a big, hopefully tomorrow morning Bailey says something at 3:30 a.m. that really kind of punches us in one direction or the other. And at least that will give us the opportunity for some type of retracement. Okay, many of you know one of the strategies that I have is called parabolic retracement. It's a way to take advantage of large moves based off unexpected or their news or a quote or something that the market was just not prepared for. I'm kind of hoping we get one of those tomorrow morning where we have a big punch in one direction and then the opportunity to retrace it back again. Kind of like this, right? I mean, this thing punched down with this morning, punched up, and then just retraced back to exactly where we were for the open, right? I mean, you guys can see here's 12, here's 3 o'clock, here's the open, right? It collapsed in and immediately shot right back up again. And again, we just retraced it back down. So it really hasn't moved since the London Open. It went up, it went down. Again, was there opportunity? Sure. It moved 160 pips up and 160 pips down. There's a lot of opportunity in there. But overall, if you're a swing trader, it didn't move at all in the last 12 hours or 8 hours, I guess, right? So right now, I need to come down a little bit lower. I don't really have necessarily a clean level that I'm in love with for this one. So we'll see what we get tomorrow morning. So Euro pound is very similar as well. I draw on this kind of level here, and I think today was a 30-minute. I don't remember what I drew it off of now. Maybe it was a 4-hour. I don't remember why I drew this one before. This must have been a profit. You know what? I know what this was. This was a setup from over here. I'll remove that from, whoops. I don't want this one gone. I just want that one gone. All right. So where we are right now, this is an okay level here. I mean, I guess I could adjust it slightly, but right now, again, it is associated. This will be a pair that is moving tomorrow. We're sitting right here right now. We're kind of at that almost probably 60% mark, but 92.46 is a level here where we had basing. Again, it reacted off this level here. Really 92.46, 92.74. Either of those two are shorts that I am definitely in on. I think both of those are great levels. And again, that's my personal kind of opinion. The way that it's high, the reaction off of it, if it can be timed with news, yeah, for me, I'm definitely in. You guys have to make your own opinion on those. But again, could set up great potential shorts up here if we can get up at the right time with news, right? And again, there is news tomorrow morning. Now, 91.26, again, is a level that it has hit it. I do like the way that reacted off of it twice. I do think it's a pretty clean level. We spent, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours rallying from that level. I think that also has some potential as well. The problem with this one, again, is from either of these two from the top side, we're about 45 or 66 pips before we get there, and vice versa, downside, we're 75. This one only has an ATR of 86. So we got a lot of room to run before we could get to either of those levels. Now, will tomorrow's news with the European data, the French, the German, the European, the BOE talking at 3:30, will that have the ability to punch it up or punch it down? It should, right? It should. And when it does, that's where I'm kind of looking to get into some of these levels, right? So for me, this one is one of those ones that it's going to be a late night trade or early morning trade, depending on if you stay up or you wake up, depending on where you are in the United States or overseas. But I think those offer, top and bottom, both great potential. Again, coinciding with all the news that we have tomorrow morning. Now, euro dollar. Euro dollar. So, euro dollar, we had a bit of a Harry Potter setup in this one, right? We'll go back to here, and you can see this was from like way back. I'll bring it back to 4 hour. This was like a way back level over here, right? There was 2 of them over here that we're waiting for. So we haven't gotten the punch through the way that we like yet. Now, again, this is on larger time frames, okay? So it's going to be a little bit weird. But again, we were looking for kind of a punch through here, and it didn't really give us the balance. So it's one of those things. It hasn't been the ideal setup. It hasn't met the rules of the strategy. It's close. Like, it's close to the strategy, but unfortunately, we're bouncing off lower level levels now. So it kind of takes away from the actual strategy itself, right? So just so we don't confuse people, again, it was originally drawn off of this level, but I'm going to delete it just because, again, I want to focus on more near term and give you guys more kind of closer level kind of trading opportunities. And you can see this morning, here's the hourly. There's the, I don't know if you can see it or not. Pull that over here, right there, so you guys can see the current prices. Pull that here. Let's base this here. Actually, no, I don't need this one anymore. We'll delete this one, and we'll delete that one. So right now, as you can see, this 117.66 is a level that we have talked about for a while. And that did give us the Harry Potter entrance, right, to the downside. This was one we talked about 2 weeks ago, right? This level we've had here forever. It ended up giving us the entry. It pulled down. It gave us the basing. It pulled back. It gave us the entry. It gave us the collapse. Down here, you can see that the hourly level, right, there's the hourly level. On the 30-minute, you can just see it because it was this dotted line, right? There's your hourly level. That was your target for the Harry Potter from here, okay? So right now with it, I would say looking at this, you got to be thinking you got to be a little bit more bullish, right? At this point, we've had massive dollar strength versus the euro. In the overnight, it's literally pushed down from the open. Right now, we've kind of hit it, and we're basing sideways and kind of looking for buyers. Now, it is 12:42. It is lunchtime, so again, not as much buying pressure out there. But on a technical basis, we should be looking for bounces. Now, it has pulled up. It has gone sideways. If it pulls back down to that level down here at 16.94, there are potential opportunities to go long in this one. And that would coincide with what we've seen on other charts, particularly with the dollar and kind of a reversal for the day. And again, that's how the market moves. It's an impulse, then a corrective move, right? And then eventually they switch. And again, we see that on a regular basis. Let me look at something real fast on this one. I didn't have this one up. Let's see, that's a 1694. Let's see, how low does that one go? 1680. It's a little bit far. I was trying to see if there's a hidden knockout on this one, but it looks like they're a bit far away. Unfortunately, the bottom of this zone is at 1682, and it looks like the closest floor is at 1650, and that would be 30 pips lower, which is not really something I'm super interested in. So again, it looks like this one is not time right. We need to kind of move around a little bit more. Now, this morning, just to give you guys a reference on this one, here is, coming up into this level right here, you can see that was approximately, and again, we did get a pull away from it, but you're talking about 1753. There happens to be a knockout. And I guess in reality, I should use kind of this level up in here, but there's a couple levels in here. There was upward side knockouts on this one, also inside of the short, which have been pretty good. Okay, dollar CAD. So dollar CAD has been something that we've been. It's weird. It's either boom or bust, right? That gives us a big explosion, or it stays for a very long stay, big move, retrace back up again, pop, retrace, long time, and then boom. So now we've been stuck for, I don't know, the last day and a half here, right? I mean, this is what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 25 hours? We've been stuck in more or less the same area on the 4-hour. And you can see what we're running into. Okay, it's running into levels on the hourly. So on the 4-hour, let's see what we have here. Yeah, it's this right here. Excuse me. It's this level right here, this 133.46. So that's what we're kind of stuck on. And again, it's a level of basing, a punch down, a retest of that level, and then an explosive move off again. And you can see it just touched and kind of pushed sideways, right? Sitting right there. Okay. So a couple ways we can play this one. Right now, we would be in a short sequence. As you guys can see that this formed a new high, and this gave us a failure to go higher type situation. It has not gone to 1 to 3 yet. The only thing I'd be cautious about this one is this area right here is a decent level of buyers. So again, there is a trade there, but this 1 to 3 is just a little bit far. I feel like we're going to have some issues right here when this one pushes down. So, again, it is bouncing off of a 4-hour level. It did give us a failure to go higher entry. Right now, you'd be in at about 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio. It has dropped, at least from there, about 17 pips to the downside. The one issue that I have with this one, and again, let me go back to the top section here. Let me see what the numbers look like. Yeah, I mean, the problem with this one is like the, let's see, we'll do the 11-to-1. If you look at the 11-to-1, the strike differential in this one is 20 pips. Okay, so this one really has to be in a great area for it to move. I do feel like this one has a little bit wide of a spread differential for the amount of movement. It really only has a 91 pip ATR, so it's not a huge ATR, but yet the strike differential for this one on the 2-hour binaries is a little bit big, right? It's a little bit big. Let me go down. Actually, this is one of the ones I hadn't checked. Let me see. That level was coming in at, what did I say, 133.44. Yeah, I didn't see this one, so this is my bad. So if you guys have your Nadex platform up at the same time, if you guys are trading with multiple monitors, which I definitely, if you can, it's so cheap these days to have multiple monitors. go over and check out. Again, this is one of the one in the area with all the new tools. There's a dollar Cad Knockout. I want you guys to check. Again, there's no numbers in the new platform, but there's just happens to be. And again, we did not go back up into that level, right? We only made this back up to here. Let me bring this down to a 30-minute. There we go. You can see that price at its peak went to here, right? Went to 133.38, right? 133.44 is the area that we had kind of stepping in on this one. This box, right, started kicking in. Again, price was turning around at 133.31. There just happens to be a knockout situated right there. Right at that same level. So again, this would have been one of those cases. If you could have grabbed it inside of this level, you would have had about 10 pips worth of risk, not very much whatsoever. And again, from that strike, even right now, you're up in this one. At its peak, you were up about 29, so or about 30, right, from that level. So you were risking 10 to make 30. Not too shabby, right? Not too shabby. This is one you could have got a 2-to-1 or something like that out of. You'd still be positive in the position right now. So again, another one of those things to add to your analysis is when you have small levels like this. I don't have it on this chart. I do have it on some of the other ones. Maybe I should bring it back in again. But again, looking at where your knockout levels are. Okay, this would have been one of those additional knockout setups. And again, is this level good for another hit? Probably. I think 133.44 is something to kind of keep your eyes on. And again, depending on time of day, opening of markets, closing of markets, I think there could be another short opportunity in there. All right. Now, dollar Swiss. So dollar Swiss, we had a level on here from before, and this is one of those ones that I would have had to take off. I had this one from, we drew this with our other group from over here, right? Right there is where we had it drawn. This one would have been an invalidated trade for me because you see this right here. Now, remember I talked earlier about getting front run? This is the exact definition of what it means to be front run. Okay, so we had the analysis. We were looking for price to hit this level and go down, and price got really, really close. Like it came right there. I don't know if you guys can see it. It came right there, right? Super, super tiny level. And what did it do? It turned around and went all the way back down again. That was the trade that we were looking for. But a lot of times when that happens, you kind of need to invalidate it. And this one, gave us a second entry, pushed down again, but it was forming basing. It's one of those things. We never really truly got entry, but we got front run once and front run twice. And you got to kind of take it off there and be like, yep, it left without me. I missed it. There was not much I could do about it. And that's kind of where we're at with this one. So we'll take it off and look at this on an hourly basis and see if is there a long entry in here that we could take. Let me see. Maybe. What do we got here? Ooh, that's not bad. Ooh, that's hard because there's a level here and it has nice movement, but it's also kind of part of this base here. Ooh, that's a hard one. Let's see how far we are. How much risk we got in this one? Let's see. Got about 24 pips worth of risk on it. Let's see. Let me see. Dollar Swiss. Let's see. Let me pull the level. I should have done this before. I didn't realize we were that close to it. 92.18. Looks like the knockout's a little far on that one. 92.51 is where the back of that channel is. Let's see. That would put us right there. That's not bad. So in this one, maybe we wait for this one to come a little bit higher. Maybe show a little patience. Again, this would go right into the same story where the dollar is kind of, it's been strong all morning, but it's going to retrace back again. And again, if it rallies just a bit more, it puts us into an area in the dollar Swiss where we will have selling. Or we have had selling in the past. Again, could be a good opportunity to sell again. There is a knockout at 92.51, which would be located right here. Would be right there would be the knockout. Now, you guys can see we do have this level right here, right? We do have a level sitting right there. So is that knockout in close proximity? And the answer is yes. So there could be, there could be a small little trade set up right here. And again, focus on, we'll do it this way. Keeping that risk low, right? Keep that risk low. Wait for some type of a confirmation, depending on if you. Again, you can use candles. You can use, if you're a moving average person. Again, you guys should have your own strategies for this. If not, I know what mine are, and my students know. You can get a little confirmation entry off of that one and be able to kind of pair that. Now, the reason why I would look for a knockout in this one versus a binary. Again, it is in close proximity, so it helps lower our risk. It also gives us 3 days till expiration, which is a big for me, right? I like that one. I like having more time for this one. And again, if you're unaccustomed with it, check that one out. If you haven't done it before, try it in demo. Now, dollar yen. Now, dollar yen, I was looking at this level earlier, and I was like, oh, there was this big spike here, and when that happened, it was kind of like, really? I knew that it came up. I knew that it grabbed levels, and I was like, I mean, it grabbed kind of some junk levels. Will it go higher? I mean, there's the new level. We're kind of in an area right now where it's not bad to short it. Um, I'm not in this one. I looked at it. I set an alert for it on 2 different machines. I got an email about it. I got a text message about it. And I was just really torn on it. And here's why. And again, maybe I'm missing the boat on this one. I did miss 2 trades this morning by like literally fractions of a pip. And I was kind of like, oh. And typically when I have that feeling, I'm a little bit more hesitant. But it did give me the drop to base. And then it got hammered down, right? I mean, it was a great area right there. You got to love when it does that. I mean, those are great little setups. There is this piece right here. And again, that's a little bit off. I'll do my drawing right there. So, I mean, the risk on it is very tiny. We're talking about like 10 pips, right? It is small. Going down, and again, let's look at the, is there a knockout right there? I didn't actually have my Nadex platform up at the time, but let's see what we got here. I mean, that's sitting right here around 1506. There is actually a knockout sitting there at 1510. So, yeah, 1510 would be right here. So, I mean, it's kind of in the middle of the range. It's not ideal. I mean, obviously, we'd like to knock out up here at 1516, but we're right in that wheelhouse. I mean, for a touch on this one, you would have had, I don't know, you would have had, what, five pips worth of risk in there. And at this point, it's already moved down about 8. So you're already at 1-to-1 on this one with 3 days to go back to the downside. And really, again, an explosive move up at the open like this. I mean, I don't know. This is why we do these things. And like, guys, I'm not in this trade. I've looked at this multiple times. Like I said, 2 different alerts, email, text. I've gotten all kinds of alerts in it. And again, many ways you could play this one. But again, there is a knockout opportunity here. I mean, it is doing some basing right now. So it's there. I just feel like, again, after all this U.S., it's the same story from the Aussie, the Euro, the Pound, the Cad, the Swiss. They're all kind of telling me the same thing. We've had all this dollar strength. Where's the retracement? And again, that would go right into the same story. So again, just another one there kind of set up, again, using those knockouts. So yeah, it could be a good opportunity. Looking at gold. What is this? Gold's going down. Why isn't gold going higher? Right? I don't know if you guys called my presentation last week, but I was definitely a little bit bearish on gold. Just slightly, right? Just slightly. And again, we've talked about kind of giving us confirmation to the top side or downside on this one. Unfortunately, it went over the weekend, so you got to kind of have to invalidate it once it goes over the weekend like that. But last week I was all over, I'm going to remove all these now because this was a long before last week. I'm still bearish based off of all the research I've done, everything that I've seen, the inflation numbers, kind of the new world order of let's keep rates low. We're not seeing massive amounts of inflation. There's still so much to be, unknown out there. You're looking at election results. There's just so much out there, right? Everything with, Ruth Ginsburg, passing away. There's just so much stuff out there. I'm not really on the wagon, right? Obviously, there's been buying opportunities. There's this level down here on the hourly that this gave us a push back up again. You can see this morning since the open, right? Since the open, this one has moved from approximately 1917 down here, about $20 down to 1898. I would say it's consolidating right now. When these buyers run out, I'm really looking for this thing to come down into this 1980-ish area. Tomorrow morning, with the manufacturing and the services PMI, that will actually have the power to move this a bit, right? I do think that gives us some opportunity, right? Right now, really, we're kind of just stuck in this middle area, right? We had a Harry Potter in here, but unfortunately, the big news from, over the weekend, again, anything's on the weekend, it always kind of invalidates some of those things we've done in the past, but we're just kind of in the middle of the range. I think right now, to be safe, I think we'd be looking at 1962 on the top side and 1881 on the downside would be for buying and selling. On this hourly, there is something, and again, this is a small minor level. It's kind of like if you wanted to snipe something, kind of sit in the middle, we'd be looking at it over in here, right? So there is something small there in the middle, but I think show some patience going into tomorrow between the flash manufacturing, flash services, Powell testifying. Again, I can guarantee somebody's going to mention interest rates tomorrow, which is going to send this guy flying. So unfortunately, I don't know if gold's going to be the best thing to trade this week, but I think there's probably a little bit of opportunity top and bottom for some bounces. All right. Silver, there you go. It's silver. We're looking for this thing to come all the way down, and it's sitting down here right now. Again, we're looking for really a drop down, and we've basically stabilized at this point. Right now, I would say I'd have to be a bit more bullish than anything else. It's not an ideal. We're not sitting at the 4-hour zone, but there's a gigantic, when I say gigantic, it's a big zone here on the daily, and it dropped into it pretty quick. So, it's one of those things. It's like, I don't know. I mean, we're sitting right down here, and again, you guys can see it's actually hidden. Move it back over, move it back down. You can see it's pushing along this 1-hour zone. And we've hit it once, we've hit it twice. We're stabilizing. You're seeing a high from here, then come lower, and then lower. You're seeing these wicks down again. So, I mean, to me, it looks like it is trying to form sellers for this one to push this one even lower. But it is starting to run into areas where we definitely have buyers. I mean, we've seen buyers step in here, right? Because how do I know? Well, if there was no buyers, price would have continued to go lower, yes? And then over here, same thing. If there was no buyers, nobody willing to buy this one, it would have just kept going lower until they found buyers. There's buyers starting in this level. There's a 4-hour level starting right here at 23.26. So I think with this pushing down, I think some of the manufacturing and services numbers could give it a potential bounce. But I wouldn't say that I'm sold on this one as being, hey, listen, it's time to jump in. Everybody buy silver. I'm just not on that boat yet. Really, I don't know. I mean, what we were hearing a month ago, everybody was saying silver was doing what? Going to 50? And I haven't seen anything to show me that silver's going to 50 yet. I just see too much selling pressure. It's too much, when everybody is talking about silver, that's typically the time not to buy it, right? That's typically, I mean, again, when everybody wants to buy gold, right? That's typically when gold drops the most. Silver is not as strong as gold. It is kind of a secondary proxy to gold. So I feel like when things turn negative, people forget about silver first because, when people talk about hedge for inflation, they're not yelling silver, right? Hey, buy silver. No. People are buying gold for those type of, wealth management strategies. So I'd be cautious with that one. All right. So with that said, let me go across now and let me pull my trading view chart. As you know, the software that I'm using here is great for everything else, but unfortunately, the numbers for oil are off because it's ECN-based data. So here is where we are right now. And come across. All right, so here's where we are. So last week I mentioned, and again, I drawn this risk to reward area for my students. And I mentioned, hey, listen, if we get to this level here, I do like this level down here of buying down in 39.17 down to 38.95-ish area. And you can see we hit, and again, we had to readjust our level a little bit. It did give us the bounce. And what do I mean by, give us the bounce? Come on. Let me move it. There we go. What I mean by that is this, right? There's the bounce. Oops. I forgot not to double click on things. There's the bounce. There's your pullback. And there was your push forward. And again, you guys can see where the level of risk is. Now, this is kind of another one of those big props for Nadex. Had you tried to get in this position, right, and you had a stop loss here, you got stopped out. I mean, again, we got the confirmation, so you should have got back in. But when this dropped lower, had you been using this with a binary, you were totally fine because it doesn't matter if it goes down to here. You're fine. It doesn't take you out of the position. A knockout, yes. A binary, no. And then it's still moving our direction. So now we're starting to approach that level again. We're coming back in here down to this 39.19. I would probably adjust the level a little bit and probably push it back down into here. Bring it down into this 39.03 level. I do think the rest of the afternoon it will probably push down to here. I am slightly kind of worried about this one. In looking at tomorrow's data, right, for crude oil, this is what we had last week. Okay, so last week we saw this green number. Again, they were predicting to have a 2.1 million barrel surplus, and oops, they were off, right? So this week they're kind of adjusting it back to the negative side of things. That's quite an adjustment, right? I mean, they're saying we're using up some, but they were wrong with unemployment. Not as many people are working as they thought. That means not as many people are driving. Looking at this on a technical basis, I mean, again, we were unable to get past this last level of basing. You can see we touched it, dropped, touched it, and dropped again. So, depending on where we are tomorrow morning, I feel like this level here at 40.25 up to 40.42 are levels that we need to watch and look for towards potential sells. And depending on what we can do from now till tomorrow morning, if we stabilize and bounce off this level, this could be the channel that we play tomorrow. This this $1.20 range tomorrow inside of oil. The way that I have liked to play this the most and looked at it the most. Now, again, I don't trade oil the most, right? I trade more currencies than anything else, but I will look and set up trades on oil. I do think looking at this one and using the 2-hour binaries before news, and again, looking for it to be into a level, I think is the best way to play this one. Obviously, on this, there are, commodity knockouts that you can use, right? Oil is definitely one of those commodity knockouts. There are oil levels at, let's see, 40.75, which is all the way up here, which is a bit high on the top side for me. Again, if we're rallying all the way up here, 41.50 is more what I'm looking for. Downside, it looks like we have something at 38.75, which is right here. Okay, 38.75 is sitting right. It'd be right there. Whoops, right there. Okay. Now, what do we know about this area? We know that buyers stepped in. So there is a potential knockout opportunity tomorrow if we don't break this before tomorrow's news release. All right. And again, this is one of those ways we know that it's an area where buyers have stepped in because price was unable to go lower. So buyers stepped in, right? They bounced off of there again. It pushed up, pulled back, and went higher. So we know there's some buyers there or have been there in the past. With a knockout there, with a limited risk like that, down at 38.7, I'm sorry, 30, what did I say? 38.75? Yeah, 38.75 could give us a potential. But again, it's got to hold in the overnight. It can't get down there. Again, we want it there tomorrow morning. So we may need to readjust. But again, tomorrow morning for this release, go look at where are your tops and bottoms inside of oil. I'm sorry, your oil knockouts. And I think that'd be a great way to play this for you guys that are new to oil. All right. So with that said, guys, that is the last analysis we have today. Do me a favor, mark your calendars off for next Tuesday, September 29th. I cannot, whoops, not 3 p.m. Eastern. Whoop, strike that. It's not 3 p.m. Eastern. It's at noon. Wait, I have to go down and change it. Where is it? I'm going to change it right now so you guys don't get confused. There you go. 12 p.m. Eastern, 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. We'll log back in. We'll go ahead and check things out. Remember, guys, please go over there and check out the new Nadex binary, the Nadex knockout brackets. Please trade them. I want to make sure that we keep them. They have been great. My students have loved them, as do I, and I want you guys to see the same success. So with that said, I'm out of here. You guys have a good trading week. Watch out for those news releases by Fed Chair Powell, and I'll catch you next Tuesday. Take care, everybody.